All right, we're live. It's your boys, Dave and Tom with Prop the Mic, PTM, back with a quick pod to cover tonight's 7-game NBA slate. As always, today's podcast is presented by Props.cash. We 100% could not do what we do without Props.cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month. What's up, Dave?
I'm going to bring up the weather since you love talking about the weather. It is snowing in New York, so that's exciting. It is. It's always creates a little bit more buzz, a little more excitement when the snow starts falling. So that's all I wanted to say there.
Is it accumulating?
A little bit. I was out shoveling.
I like a little more detailed weather forecast.
Detailed. That's not going to come from me. I'm not that knowledgeable in that area, but things are great here at PTM. We're doing really good stuff. A lot of great football picks out there. So if you haven't watched the NFL pod for the divisional round that we put out yesterday with our guy Lucas, go watch that. We got some great success going with the alt builders with our straight picks. Just follow along and make some money with us. But today we're going to be talking NBA, our bread and butter. Let's get back to it. And let's dive right into it. We got the Spurs at the Hornets is our first game of the night. Hornets are -4.5. Totals 235 and a half. Wemby is out, which makes this game almost unwatchable. But Melo's back, so that's exciting. What do you have in this one?
I got LaMelo. It's like the number one scoring matchup in our model. San Antonio is the number one scoring matchup for point guards, especially those that score, do their damage in the paint and from three, which is right up LaMelo Ball's alley there. He had 28 against San Antonio in his first game back from injury in only 26 minutes. He interestingly got to the line 16 times in that game. Yeah, very interesting. That's how he was able to get there in only 26 minutes. And his minutes have increased. So he's played 3 games now back from injury. Minutes have stepped up each game. He's cleared this in 10 of 13 overall, 6 straight at home. And here's your comps. Dame, 25 and 40. Ja, 26. Trey, 36 and 45. Luka, 39 and 33. SGA, 28. Steph, 35. And then even CJ did some damage, 29 points for CJ against this Spurs team. So this is a great spot for Melo. Let's just hope the game doesn't totally get out of hand. But I don't know, 2 bad teams. I think Melo will play some decent minutes here.
Yeah, which way would it get out of hand? I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? They both get blown out in this game somehow. Yeah, I like that play a lot. I do like this is what you talked about is this was a game he was injured, then 26 minutes, first game back, 30, 31. I could see them kind of releasing the minutes restriction if there even is one. You can look, I'm not even going to put the filter on, but pretty much when he gets 33, 34 minutes, he cashes almost every time. So what is it? You played 26 and a half points. Is that what it is?
26 and a half. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
110 on DK. Yeah, it's a nice one. I'm really into this one. I laid off Jalen Brunson last night. After the point guards against the Spurs, the next best matchup for point guards is against Washington. And I for some reason, I don't know why, I talked myself off Jalen Brunson last night, and he goes up and puts up 40-something points against Washington. So I'm not going to make that mistake again here. Playing this matchup, it's screaming out.
Yeah. I was looking at LaMelo the other day, and he is just really inefficient. No way. I mean, look at the shot. Look at the shot volume that he puts up. 26, 28, 27, 31. He hasn't even gotten back to those numbers yet. So he's put up 24 and 19 in the last 2. But still fairly inefficient. But if he puts up 25 shots again, he's going to crush this number. So
he's not shy.
He is not shy. His shot selection is questionable, but and he'll put up a ton of threes. So hopefully he hits some, and I see this one sailing over. Love that one.
Yeah. All right.
Any other picks in this game from you?
Nope, that's it.
All right, let's talk about a Duke guy, Trey Jones. Love this guy. This is more of a lean, maybe. I don't know. But he's in. I believe he's in the starting lineup. They put him into the starting lineup recently, and and he's actually had really good success rebounding when he gets a certain minute volume. So if you look at his last couple games, he's getting like 26 plus minutes. You can look at his rebounds when he gets 26 plus minutes. He's hitting 8 out of 12. So that's, at 3.5 rebounds. But what I thought was interesting, let's look at the 2 games that he played without Wemby, right? 2 games without Wemby, he had 8 rebounds versus Portland and 9 rebounds versus Chicago. So 3.5 rebounds seems like a good spot for him at minus 140. Or if you want to get a plus money, you can get a 5 rebounds, which I think is a really good spot at plus 135. Just looking at other point guard comps, CJ McCollum on the same line, 3.5, had 5 rebounds. Down here, Io had 5. De'Aaron Fox had 5. So I think 5 is a good spot. So either pay the juice at 3.5 or play up to 5, or go crazy and say that he's going to get 8 and probably get a really good one. So
there you go. Looks like where his offensive rebounding is really where he does a lot of his work. Just looking on Cleaning the Glass here, 74th percentile in offensive rebounding against or by point guards. So pretty good.
Yeah, he's fighting for playing time, so that generally leads to a scrappy approach to rebounding. So, all right, that's enough on this game. Let's move. Sixers, Magic. Magic are getting 5.5 at home. Total is 223.5. Magic are a really good home team, 13-5 at home. So there is a chance that the Magic could win this game because the Sixers are amazing at home, but not so great on the road. So I don't know how this game is going to play out. Both teams are missing players, right? The Magic have Gary Harris and Franz Wagner out, and the Sixers have Melton still out. They have Mo Bamba out and Covington out. So a little thin on both sides. But what do you like in this one?
Before I go there, we're just getting a couple notes on X here. Maybe it's people aren't able to see the player's name based on how this is set up here, how the screen is displaying.
Okay.
Maybe you can.
Does that help?
We'll see. We'll see how that does. There's a little bit of a lag here, so we'll see. We'll know in a minute. But what was my play in this game? Hang on one sec. Let's go down here. I had 2 plays in this game. Did you want me to start on a certain side here?
Yeah, go with the Magic.
All right, so I had Jalen Suggs rebounds, over 3.5 rebounds, plus 108 on FanDuel. You got 2 nice trends going on here. Philly has allowed the most rebounds per minute. Yeah, that looks good, Dave. The most rebounds per minute to opposing combo guards over the last month. They've also, interestingly to note, have allowed the most rebounds to wings and forwards as well. And then the fewest rebounds to point guards. So I don't know what's going on there exactly, but yeah, those guys who play like the 2, 3, 4 have just been rebounding off the charts against Philly. He has cleared this. So Suggs, his trend is 6 of 7 overall. The 7 games coincides with Franz Wagner going on IR or whatever, being injured. So he's cleared this in 6 of the 7 games since Franz has been out. Those are his last 7 games. The one game he missed, he only played 13 minutes in that game. I believe it was against Miami. I didn't do a digging why he played only a few minutes, but almost every single game since Franz went down. And just here's some of the combo guards and the rebounding output that they've had against Philly. Kobe White, 8, 8, and 4. He's played them 3 times, had 8 rebounds in 2 of those games. Edwards had 7, Hero 6, DeJounte Murray 5, Chris Dunn 5, Anthony Black, his teammate, had 4, Malachi Flynn 4, Alex Caruso 4. Great spot for Suggs here.
Yeah, so would you have 3.5 rebounds? Is that where you were at?
3.5 at plus 108 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so let's also look at him at home. And what I also, my only play in this game was also on Suggs, but look at his PRA at home.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's cleared his PRA in 14 of 17 games at home. So that's 82% hit rate. Last 4 games at home, 23, 29, 24, 27. So I did start by looking at his rebounds, but I ended up kind of stumbling upon this PRA trend. And
Interesting.
That's what I went with. I think he's in a good scoring spot tonight too, especially with Gary Harris still out. And Franz, Franz is 20-something points to go around, to the rest of the team. So yeah, both of us are on Suggs. Very nice. Anybody else in this one?
Cool. Yeah, so you could stay right on PRA there because I got another PRA play. Tobias Harris, guy who basically started his career in Orlando, right? He wasn't drafted by the Magic, but played 1 year in Milwaukee and then played really his first 3 professional seasons in Orlando. So that's where he established his roots. That's where he got his start, right? He has only gone under his 25.5 PRA line in 2 of 9 games in Orlando since he joined the Sixers. The first 2 games that he missed were his first 2 trips to Orlando when he joined the Sixers. But since then, he's averaging 35.1 PRA in his last 7 games in Orlando. That's 31, 35, 38, 37, 35, 32, and 38. Wow. Yeah. He's cleared this line in 9 of his last 11 overall, 6 of his last 7 on the road. When he's played on 2 days rest on the road this season, he had a 40 PRA game and a 27 PRA game. And what I like is also, if you're looking at his 2 days rest splits, he's got some nice assist outputs this season on 2 days rest. 3 times he's had 6 assists when they've been on extra rest. So I love this one. Something about Harris when he goes back and plays in Orlando. He balls out.
Maybe he's like the Lopez brothers, and he's a big fan of Disney or something like that. What do you think?
No, I think that's where he maybe still has a house there. I can see he played it. That's where he got his first big contract. Played 3+ years in Orlando. So there's something to it going back to where you got your start.
Yeah. I actually didn't even remember that he was on Orlando. I think of him as like a career Sixer. So that's cool. Yeah, and the other thing about him, if you look at his minutes, he played. I was watching the Nuggets game the other day. He barely came out of the game. He played 38 minutes in that game or something like that. Played 20 minutes in the first half. So barring foul trouble, I think this guy is just great in terms of time on the court and what that's going to lead to in terms of all these ancillary props. But scoring wise, he looked great too in that game. He was just hitting all of his shots. So hopefully he carries that momentum and that high playing time into today's game and cashes again at 25.5 PRA. I like that.
Yeah. He always plays big minutes, and it also helps now. You got Covington out, you got Melton out, so
exactly
more minutes from the play. Yeah,
and Mo Bamba out too.
And Mo Bamba.
And actually, he was guarding Jokic for part of the game too. If you watch that game, so they might even be slotting him into the center position a little bit when Embiid's out. So yeah, very versatile player, very underrated player. Tobias Harris is. I don't know why they're always talking about trading that guy. He is just a guy you want on your team. So, all right, let's move on. We got the Nuggets and the Celtics. It's probably the game of the night, right?
For sure.
Celtics are 20-0 at home, undefeated at home. Nuggets come in after a pretty tough loss to the Sixers. That was a great game the other night, and then they just fell apart with turnovers at the end. And the Nuggets really aren't that good on the road. So not yet at this point of the season. Celtics are -6.5 at home, totals 234.5. I honestly struggled to find what to play in this game, so hopefully you got some stuff.
I just have one, and it's nice and juicy here. Jaylen Brown assists,
Okay.
But his line is in most books you'll find it at 2.5 right now, but for like -170, -180. So I actually like it at 3.5. You can get it at +145 on FanDuel for over 3.5 assists. He's cleared this in 8 of his last 10 home games, averaging 4.4 assists. When he played Denver at home last season, he had 8 assists. Tatum did play in that game, in case you're wondering. Denver, has allowed the 7th most assists to opposing wings over the last month, just over the last month. Big games to Jordan Clarkson, 9 assists, J-Dub, 9, Bruce Brown, 6, B.I., 6, Mikal Bridges, 6, Trey Murphy, 4, Gary Trent Jr. had 4. Big assist games from the wing position. So let's get a plus money play on Jaylen Brown over 3.5 assists.
Very nice. I like that a lot. Did you see his pass, his assist the other day when he like threw it between his legs on a fast break? It was a cool play, but it looked very awkward, like a very forced between the legs pass. But he's good. He's playing great. He's actually shooting the ball really well. And yeah, I think in a game like this, I think he's good for 3 or 4, 4 or 3 or 4 assists. I think, right? You said 4 for plus money as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Let me just highlight a couple things that I was looking at. These are more leans than plays, but it wouldn't be a Celtics game if we didn't look at our guy Derek White. So Derek White, we were looking at his RA actually at home. I thought was a pretty awesome trend. He's cleared this in 16 of 19 games, and that includes, what is that, 10 or something like that in a row. So I thought that was interesting, and I was ready to like hammer Derek White play. I was kind of wondering why the line was so low on him and not like 8.5. But then I looked, he didn't have a great performance against Denver. He only put up 5 RA in that game. So I'm passing on Derek White, even if it breaks my heart. But I think he's in a good spot tonight. I just put out a builder for this one. In the previous matchup, Jaylen Brown and Jokic both went off for 30 points, I think 30 plus, and Tatum went off for 25. So I said, you know what? Let's just assume that happens again. Jokic 30, Jaylen Brown 30, Jason Tatum 25 points. Put those 3 together, you get plus 1,300. I know that I'm speaking to
Jaylen Brown to score more than Jason Tatum, huh?
Yeah, he did in the previous game. Let's take a quick look. I hear some skepticism in your voice. That's yeah. So so in the previous game, which was in Denver, yeah, Tatum had 25, and Brown had 30, and Jokic, who they really try to make shoot a lot in these games, had 30. So I'm literally just playing a small play, 1/10 of a unit or something like that on a plus 1,300 for them to repeat their prior performance.
I think my hesitancy is if Jaylen Brown scores 30 points, he's not going to have 4 assists. So
okay. Well, this is a good hedge for your other bet because we'll nail a plus 1,300.
There we go. We
got
a question on X here asking if old man Horford is playing tonight. No, I didn't. Haven't been on Horford much. His minutes are not great, right?
Let's see.
Hasn't been a guy we were hammering last year.
I don't see him on the injury report, so he's not starting, right? Porzingis has been back in the lineup for a couple games now. So if he is playing, he's coming off the bench, and I don't see him on the injury report. The one player who was questionable for this game, I forgot to mention, was Aaron Gordon. He's showing as likely to play, so I think he'll play. But other than that, nobody was really significant.
Yeah, he's listed as probable. I'm sure he'll play here.
Suit up. Yep.
The reason we're getting the Horford question maybe is I see the last 2 times they played Denver, he did pretty well. Although he played 34 and 30 minutes in those 2 games, but he did have 28 PR. The points and rebounds are what was he really excelled in, 28 PR and 14 PR. But I think the minutes are not there. He's not playing 34 and 30 minutes most of the time.
No. I would lean towards Porzingis if you're feeling a center play in this game and stay away from Big Al. But he could do it. You never know. All right, let's keep moving. We got the Hawks at the Heat. Heat are minus 6.5 at home. Totals 226.5 in this one. Big news on this one is Trae Young is out. So that slides our boy DeJounte Murray. It slides him into the point guard spot and off our ban list. If you saw our post on X, so I'm just going to jump right into that one. Tom, I've been telling Tom for weeks, like, no, we're not playing Murray. We're not playing Murray. And then I surprised him with a Murray play today. So there's a lot riding on this from a reputational standpoint.
Your reputation is
exactly. But if we look
hanging in the balance here.
So Murray joined the Hawks last season, right? And if you look at the 9 games that he's played without Trae Young, he slides from the shooting guard into the point guard spot. He's actually had 6.5 assists in 8 of those 9 games, and he's averaging 8.6 assists. So I just can't overlook this, despite how much this man has failed us in the past. And 2 of those games were this year too, right? We had one against Detroit where he had 10 assists and one against Philly where he had 9 assists. So bad team and a good team. He did it in both of those. So I think this is a good play, even though I had to break some of my own rules to get it out there. So what do you think, Tom?
I do. I'm on board. I think something that the fit between the 2 of these guys in Atlanta doesn't work, and this kind of shows that it doesn't work. You know, as soon as Trae's out, like, he becomes a better player, better playmaker. So he's probably also playing to get himself traded and off this crummy Atlanta team. So I can see a nice night out of DeJounte tonight.
No, this is definitely, I mean, he wants to leave to go to a contender, he said. If he goes out there and puts a bad performance up tonight without Trae in the lineup, that's not going to help his value. So I see him playing big minutes, playing hard to try to showcase his point guard skills. So
yeah.
All right, what do you like in this game?
I didn't really have much. One little lean here I started to dig into was Jimmy Butler over 4.5 assists, but it's juicy at -145 on DK. I just liked his, the last 3 games he played against Atlanta, he had 9, 9, and 7 assists in those 3 games. But obviously Atlanta a little bit different. That's with Trae Young. So, now Atlanta's rotation's different. So, he plays very consistent minutes. He's like 35 minutes the last 4 games against Atlanta. So the games are staying competitive, and he's not needed to rest. And in his 2 games since he came back, he played 40 minutes, I think, in his first game back, and 30 minutes the next game. So doesn't seem to be on any minutes restriction after missing all those games. So, but this is really just kind of more of a lean. But yeah, that's all I got.
I like that. That's fairly complimentary with my play on Jimmy. So what I liked for Jimmy Butler was under 22.5 points. I know that's scary because he's Jimmy, but done this in 2 of the last 4 games versus Atlanta. But let's just take a look at this year, right? So he's only got a 38% hit rate so far this year, clearing 22.5 points. And when he plays 34 minutes or less, right? So we take the filter on props.cash to 34 or less. He's only cleared in 1 out of 9 games. So I think this is a spot where he's going to not play the full 35 plus minutes. I think this game could get out of hand, or I just don't see him playing those 40 minutes again, because that game was an overtime game against Brooklyn. Really, he was projected to play 35 minutes around there in that game, and then that game went to overtime, and he probably played the full 5 minutes in overtime. So I see him playing somewhere between 30 to 35 minutes in this game, and I see an output similar to this. And if you look, these 9 games, he averaged 15.2 points in these games. So he's not just missing 22.5; he's sailing under by a big margin. So I'm fading Jimmy today versus a Trayless Hawks team. You good?
A rare under on PTM. So let's see how it goes.
Let's see.
Always interesting though. Always interesting, those unders.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We got the Suns at the Pelicans. Pelicans are -1.5 at home. Totals 237.5. What do you like in this one?
Hang on, find my notes here. So I liked Pelicans Suns. Durant assists. Also kind of pricey at -150 on DK. But with Booker and Beal, he's cleared in 6 of his last 8 games with those guys, averaging 5.4. He's nice on 2 days rest. Last 6 of 8 on 2 days rest, averaging 5.8 assists. That's this season. If you go back to last season, 11 of his last 15 games on 2 days rest, he's cleared this assist line, including both games this season on 2 days rest with Beal and Booker. He had 6 and 5 in those 2 games. So that's the play.
Nice. You have anything else in this game?
I don't.
Okay. All right. I am just going to repeat our play of the day from a couple days ago. I think Nurk rebounds is a pretty good spot. His assists were popping actually today, but I do like his rebounds. Over 10.5 rebounds. If you look over the last 3 games, he's put up 12, 13, and 15. And if you go back to 5 games, he put up 19 against Memphis. So I think this is a pretty good spot, even though he's going up against Joval. Let's see what some other opposing centers have done recently against New Orleans. Nick Richards, 12 rebounds. Derek Lively, 12 rebounds. Nikola Jokic, 10 rebounds. And Sabonis, 10 rebounds. So I think those are all pretty good comps for Nurk. And especially in his new role on this team, he's definitely focusing a lot more on rebounding under the hoop, as Tom said on the pod the other day. To get all those rebounds from the big 3. So I like that a lot. The other thing, too, is Bol is out, and he's really been his primary backup for the last week or 2. And Eubanks, who is their other backup center, his minutes have really been on the decline. He started October and November playing 18 minutes per game. In December, Eubanks played 15 minutes per game. And in January, he's only averaged 10 minutes per game. The last 2 games that Nurkic played here with 13 and 15 rebounds, even with Bol out, Eubanks only played 10 and 4 minutes. So there really is not a lot of backup from a center position behind Nurkic tonight. And for some reason, they're leaning away from Eubanks, who I thought was pretty good. So something must be up there. He might be moving out of Phoenix soon if something's going on there. But anyway, 10.5 rebounds, -111 on FanDuel. You like it?
Let's run it back. Yeah, I'm into it.
Run it back.
Let's go.
Third quarter cash the other day. Let's see if we can do it again tonight. All right. Pacers at the Blazers. Blazers are getting 5.5 at home. Nice 238.5 total. What do you like in this one?
So this is like this right after LaMelo, I think, was like the second or third best scoring matchup on in the model here today. So I like Jeremy Grant points over 20.5. It's -110. I think you can still get this in quite a few books. I think at 19.5, it was -145 on DK, but I don't mind the 20.5. He played Indiana on November 27th, had 34 points in that game.
Wow.
Forwards against Indiana, 4th most points per minute over the last month. They're especially prone to forwards with strong long mid-range games. Just since New Year's Eve, Keegan Murray, 27 points. Lauri Markkanen, 32. Michael Porter Jr., 25. Jason Tatum, 38. Julius Randle, 28. So he's right in the mix with those guys. I see him getting 20 plus, 21 plus tonight in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, seems to be in a great spot. Lots of points to go around in this one. Defense is optional. I love this play.
So maybe is Siakam making his debut tonight?
You know, there aren't a lot of props out here, so I think that's probably still
what's going on. Yeah,
so
that could change things. He'll have, that changes things a bit for Indiana, their rotation. So maybe they won't be allowing the 4th most points per minute to forwards after they get Siakam in the mix. But I'm still sticking with this one tonight. Yeah.
You don't know what kind of minutes he's going to play either. So I think that's a good play. And he also, I believe, showed up on our alt props list as well. So he's a good alt option as well if you want to take him down to like 15 points. So
nice.
All right, let's wrap it up. We got the Nets at the Lakers. Lakers are -7.5 at home. Total is 227.5. before we dive into the player props on this one, I do have to point out the Nets are 6-14 on the road, and the Lakers are 15-7 at home. This seems like a really good spot to back the Lakers. I personally have not won a pick on the Lakers in like 2 years. It seems to be the worst team for me to bet on. So I would probably do the money line on the Lakers and then pair it with something that we're about to go through if you want to juice up the odds. So with that said, what do you like in this game?
I just had one play, something we went to, I don't know, last week maybe. Austin Reaves assists is +1. He's cleared this in 8 of his last 11 home games, 7 of his last 9 overall. So I like the trends just on Reaves specifically. If you look at combo guards against Brooklyn, they've allowed the 9th most assists per minute over the last month. Anthony Simons 11, Jaden Ivey 7, Malcolm Brogdon 6, Donovan Mitchell 6, Cam Payne 6, Talen Horton-Tucker had 6, Colin Sexton 6. So I think the way Reaves has been playing, especially at home, I think he gets there no problem.
Yeah, I think that's a great spot for Reaves. I will definitely play that. Reaves was also popping on our model for scoring. His total is 14.5 points. It looks like it's coming up now. No, you can still get it on DraftKings for 14.5. The scary part is, he's only cleared this in 1 of his last 5 games. And I think this is probably somewhat correlated with the assists also on the rise. So shooting guards are a great matchup against the Nets. If you look at some recent comps, we got Malcolm Brogdon with 16 points, Tyler Hero 29, Donovan Mitchell 45, Brogdon 18, Simons 38, and Sharp 21. So those are all great scoring matchups. So I said, maybe Reaves isn't in the right role right now to score and get the 14.5. Maybe this game ends up being a blowout, so he doesn't play quite all the minutes. But I was thinking, like, who else is a good shooter on this team? Not necessarily classified as a shooting guard. He's a small forward, but Taurean Prince, I think, is a great shooter on this team. His role is kind of the, sit in the corner and drain those threes, but he's also got the ability to slash to the hoop. I like Taurean Prince at 8.5 points tonight, -125. Actually -120 on DraftKings. I love often his line creeps up to 9.5, and I love the 8.5 because he is a 3-point shooter and he could easily clear this just on 3 3-pointers. If you look, he's got a 100% hit rate on the season when he plays 33 plus minutes, and he's got a 76% hit rate on the season when he plays 28 plus minutes. So let's move him up to 28, right? And let's look at his full season. That's your 76% hit rate. And what I love is the cluster to the right of this chart, right? I mean, if we filter this down to just the last 10 games, we'll look at that. You're talking about 8 out of the last 10. So I think he's in a great spot to score 10, 11, 12 points tonight. Love this one at 8.5. What do you think about Prince? This might be the first Taurean Prince play we had this year.
Yeah, I think so. Looks good based on the minutes there. Yeah, I can get behind that. He's been shooting. I think he's been shooting pretty well this season too.
Yeah. I mean, if you look, his 3-point line is 1.5. During this 10 game period, he's basically draining 2 or 3 threes in most of these games. Last 2 games against Oklahoma and Dallas, he didn't have any threes, but that Dallas game, he only played 20 something minutes, like 20 minutes, because that game was a total blowout and everybody sat in the 4th. So I think this game hopefully will be more competitive. We won't have a blowout, and he'll play his normal 30 something minutes and he'll cash once again.
Very nice. Got a couple questions before we wrap up here. We can get to real quick. Someone on G Cruz on YouTube asked, do you like AD's rebounds tonight?
Let's see. So 12.5 rebounds is the best we can get it. Let's look at AD at home. Doesn't necessarily play much better at home. He's got a 50% hit rate at home and a 50% hit rate on the road. So no home court advantage for AD. Let's see what opposing centers have done against Brooklyn. Well, Bam Adebayo putting up 20 rebounds is pretty interesting. And Jared Allen, 12. And Duop Reith, am I saying that right? I know he's on Portland,
yeah.
but he's a new one for us. 13 rebounds. So that's pretty good. All happening within the last week and a half. I do believe Sharp is out for Brooklyn, and he's one of their best rebounders. So I think that puts a lot on Claxton to rebound. So yeah, if I had to pick over or under, I'd probably go over. I think it'll be close. I think he'll land on 13 if he does get over, and then you also have the risk of a blowout, possibly not getting the minutes. What do you think, Tom?
I guess in general hate betting on Anthony Davis. So he's just like a stay away from me. I don't know. You have to. I'm very selective with the spots to play AD. He's just I don't know. I don't know what it is with that guy. So, certain guys,
But putting your personal feelings towards AD aside, I think the data would support an over, but again, play with caution. If you're going to play it, maybe play half a unit. Anything else from the group?
Going back to the Boston-Denver game real quick. Somebody asked on X about Porzingis over 17.5 points. I see why they're probably targeting this at home. I think he's scored 21 points in more than half of his home games this season. I think he got there his last game over Denver. The matchup's not great. It's like a 50% percentile scoring matchup in our model here. So not something we spent too much time looking at just because it wasn't really popping out. But looking at the charts like that, I could see why you could get behind that.
Yeah, I think a lot of his success is hinged upon his 3-point shooting, and I could see him shooting a lot of 3-pointers tonight to try to draw Jokic out of the paint. What I would say is keep an eye on the Aaron Gordon news. If Aaron Gordon is out, I think that changes a lot for Denver defensively. So I think that certainly makes things easier for Porzingis. So this one was right on the fence for me. I was looking at it. I just couldn't get myself there. So personally going to lay off of it. But again, if I had to go one way or the other, I'd probably go over.
Just look at one thing real quick. Since last season, look at his splits on 3 days rest.
With points, right? Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. So Kristaps likes his extra rest, I say.
I think looking at anything with him on Washington is an irrelevant data point, though. Right?
Yeah. He got there once against Cleveland this season. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I like my days rest splits. So
of course.
All right, I think that does it. We're approaching the 40-minute mark here. Anything else? We're good?
No, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a bunch out on X already. We get a couple more of these picks out. Everyone enjoy the nice Friday night NBA slate, and let's all make some money.